Month 8 in the time of the Eternal, Month 10, Day 25, 2023. Pergamos. He, whose eyelids searches the sons of men and knows where each one of his true sons are on the wide face of the earth, he is the one who has the sharp double-edged sword, for his word is effective, penetrating to the point of dividing the soul and the spirit, the joints and the marrow. For he is powerful to discern the most hidden thoughts and intentions in the heart. He who no mortal can escape from his sight, nor any evil power. He who deciphers, before thoughts reach us, what we will execute, knows exactly where, in our interior, the spiritual fall or rise begins. He who calls us to be prepared before the attack of the evil one and gives us all warning and help to overcome, he knows exactly whether we accept all his help available, or we take at our criteria what we like, and discard what is difficult, and we only do what we like, according to our crooked criteria. He certainly knows what the doctrine of Balaam is like, sold by his greed to Balak, putting like this, with his satanic advice, a stumbling block for the people of Israel of old. Not fearing God, even listening to his voice. Almost dead on the road, he chose to follow his stubborn and greedy heart. He allowed himself to be denigrated by the evil one, when the greatest privilege is that the Eternal allows us to hear his voice and have his wonderful blessing and direction. His morbid greed blocked his reasoning and led him to believe that he could deceive God, hiding his greedy intentions from him. Excusing himself at every step in his destructive behavior, he did not realize that his desire for wealth was going to come for his life, but also, it was going to be his destruction forever. Like this is the doctrine of Balaam. This doctrine distorts, omits, adds and looks for any corner to see how its ideas can enter to make someone who is walking in the truth fall. Furthermore, this Balaamite doctrine only causes those who are not grounded in the truth to fall, even though they boast of being in the truth. This false doctrine affects those who live complaining about God's standard. Those who, when the standard is raised by God himself, claim and oppose his commands. Those who read the Bible with one eye and covet with the other. Today, the doctrine of Balaam is widespread in the world of those who claim to have the truth, especially the nominal SDA, Seventh-day Adventist Church. It declares that there is no salvation outside of it, while in its interior it teaches to fornicate to its parishioners with Balaamite doctrines. Because, it teaches them, and orders them, to be tolerant with the ordination of women to pastor, the eldership, contemplative prayer, spiritual formation, homosexual marriage and, finally, to induce their parishioners, professed followers to this, to revere Rome by worshipping on its spurious day, the first day of the week, the day of the sun, as the United States of America calls it. Thus, putting stumbling block after stumbling block before its followers, making them eat the things sacrificed to the idols invented by Beelzebub, the father of darkness. Thus, papal Rome, the beast and the image, the United States, the right and left hand of the adversary of the eternal and only God, Christ Jesus, leads those who follow this course to the curse in order to destroy their effectiveness of divine protection and defeat them. For the eternal God will never be able to bless or protect those who violate his law through concessions of human invention, and with practices that challenge his law, and unclean practices that degenerate and denigrate the human being, creating abomination in them, for he created man in his image and in his likeness. Spiritual fornication is a trick of Satan since ancient times. And even today, those ambivalents whose self is overflowing, taste this doctrine, because it gives them power. But they do not see that it is power for destruction, just as it was for Balaam. Thus, it brings rebellion and, therefore, separation from the only one who can be for them in the face of the final conflict. Thus they barter their eternal salvation for the apparent temporary ephemeral power, based on their inner desires for self-complacency. So, all those who live on pure theories without deeds, those who walk after men of renown, are after the doctrine of Balaam, even without knowing it. According to the Church of Pergamos in yesteryear, today in the same way exists, along with the doctrine of Balaam, its twin soul, the doctrine of the Nicolaitans, which is abhorred by the Eternal. It is abominable before him. Very similar to the doctrine of Balaam, but more given to the underhanded defense of occultism. This is based on exchanges of ideas and ideals, promoting having an open mind to all types of thinking and supposed ideals, to have a good work team, to implement and spread ideas that revolutionize everyone by feeling that they all have something in common, such as the common home, the right to abortion, euthanasia, incest, cremation, and more. These Nicolaitans, while the doctrine of Balaam teaches the leaders to dissuade the people from departing from the divine precepts, these are working among the people, making them believe that they have sovereign rights over themselves and that they are so masters of their lives to dispose from it as their desire and criteria may be. This doctrine, together with the doctrine of Balaam, makes the one who carries it sit in the same chair as Satan, since he lives in the effervescence of his infernal philosophy. To these, the Eternal says, flee from the deadly leprosy, because its touch is so deadly and its tongue so sagacious that whoever listens to it will fall. They will be fire of destruction due to their philosophies and influences occultist satanic for many. They sacrifice the fruit of their womb and put their minds on the altar of Molech, to be ruled by the destroyer. These occult ideas, which ruin and violate the thought and the heart, are an abomination before my eyes, and I turn my face before this, and my presence is not there, because this is a den of jackals and foxes. I will come against these and kill them with the sword of my mouth, soon. Whoever repents, let him depart from these and come to me, so that I can cleanse him from all filthiness. And so he will be able to be victorious in me, and I will give him to eat my hidden manna. I will give him a little white stone with his new name that only he will know. And he will live with me forever. But, to be overcomer of this evil amalgam, he must open his heart to my sayings and surrender completely after my footsteps, so that he can escape unscathed from the clutches of the evil one. Since, this deadly spell only comes out with fasting and prayer. Perhaps, after my footsteps, you can be delivered from the wrath to come. Because these evil ones who spread this malignancy, use the force of their spells and charms to retain those who, with duality of thought, persist in associating with them. To these, the judgment will be upon them, because having evidence of error they persisted in such deception where truth is trampled and error is welcomed. For these kill the faithful and crown the unfaithful. Whoever is among them will cease to exist forever. The doctrine of Balaam cannot subsist without the doctrine of the Nicolaitans, nor that of the Nicolaitans without the doctrine of Balaam, just as Rome cannot subsist without its right hand, the United States of America, its image. For Rome, the beast, appeals to the hidden force of the common good, and the United States exercises the energetic power of obliging to fulfill the whims of the evil one reflected in the beast. Let's pay attention. Faithful and true words that I leave, from the Eternal, for each one of you. May the Lord bless you.